Hi everyone, I'm Sandy and welcome back to my channel, Sandy's Happy Plants, where I talk about all sorts of planty things. And today I'm going to be talking about my propagation box that I made about 2 months ago that I showed you how to make. And I'm going to give you guys an update and also plant some of the plants that are in there. And I'll show it to you. Here it is. And they're all doing pretty good. So I'm going to plant some of those into pots, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, let's start with seeing how these guys are doing here, how the roots are doing. And I'm going to angle it down so you can see. Okay, so here they are. And I have my little homemade repotting mat here. So never mind that. But so here they are. Here's the silver satin pothos, but I think it's kind of a silvery, and it might be a silvery and scindapsus. I'm not really sure. Sometimes they're sold as all sorts of names. I bought it as a silver satin pothos, which I don't even know if that exists. I think it's either silver or satin, but whatever. It kind of does look like, if you look closely, the leaves kind of do look like silvery and scindapsus, but I don't know, maybe that's the same thing. You never know nowadays anymore. There's too many different kinds with similar names. But anyways, so I'm gonna look at these ones and plant them. And then these ones, this is just a jade pothos, and I actually stuck these in here about a week ago, so I'm not gonna touch these yet. And these ones here, that's the glacier pothos, and I'm gonna do these ones as well. And same with these. I call it glacier, but I'm not really too sure if it's a glacier. It was sold as a glacier, but I don't know. It might be njoy. Who knows? But I like it. Some of the leaves look like glacier leaves, so I don't know. Maybe it's a glacier. Maybe it's njoy. Whatever it is, it's cool. And I'm gonna plant those as well, depending on how the roots are doing. And this is global green pothos, and we'll see how those roots are doing too. So let's start with getting some of these out of here and see how these roots are doing. Okay, so let's start with looking some of these and getting these out and looking at the roots. I'm gonna take this one out first, and I'll show it to you as soon as I get it out. I'm gonna be really gentle so I don't break any of the roots that might have developed. And this actually made a new leaf. You can see this is the new leaf, the lighter colored one. They're kind of light because I had them not in direct light. Okay, so I'm just trying to get all this stuff off of it without pulling the roots off by accident. Okay, so here you can see there's a nice root on this. This is all root. Okay, so that's pretty good. I'm going to put that to the side. Take out the next one here. And these are like, all of these grew, even the bare stem ones that I had. Right here on the corner, you see these two little ones? Those are bare stems that are just stuck in there, and they grew new leaves. So that's pretty cool. So this one also has a nice root on it. There you go. I think that's pretty good for planting. Get all of these out here. Don't want to pull too hard because they're kind of stuck in the moss, because the roots kind of developed, have been developing in here for a while. Because I haven't been dealing with it, I just kind of left it for a couple months and kept watering it, and so yeah, so they've kind of grown in there. So all these new leaves, these lighter leaves, these are all new leaves because these were all just one leaf when I stuck them in there. So they all did pretty good. And yeah, the reason why they're not fully colored, like the reason why they don't look like the other leaves is that they just weren't in bright enough light. So if you have them in brighter light, they will make that coloring, that pattern on the leaves. Okay, so the silver satin pothos or scindapsus silvery, they all did really well. As you can see, they all have really good roots on them. And most of them actually grew another leaf too, a fresh leaf. So I'll show you this one so you can see. So this is what the color looks like, what it's supposed to look like. It's kind of like silvery splash on like a darker green leaf, and then the young leaves are lighter colored because they haven't been in such bright light, and also for most plants the younger leaves are lighter than the adult leaves. So yeah, so these all did really good. So I think these are ready for planting, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And I have, how many do I have here? I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I think I'm gonna do 5 per each pot so that it makes the plant fuller, and so it's not just like one little plant in there. I like it better when it's nice and full in the pot, and then once it grows bigger, it just kind of spreads out in there and it looks really nice. So let's go ahead and do that. So I have already prepared a well-draining potting mix, and this is a little bit different than the other one I used. This, I just used a mix of regular houseplant soil and coconut fiber and some orchid bark and perlite. And I just kind of eyeballed it. I didn't really measure it, but yeah, so you can see it's like a well-draining mix basically. And then I've also prepared some little pots. These are just little plastic pots. I think they're from the dollar store. And I just drilled holes in one of them, and they're the same size. I just drilled holes in one so that the water can drain out when you water, and then you can just put it back into this one, which I didn't drill holes in. So there you go, easy peasy. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put some of the potting mix into the first little pot here, and I'm just kind of putting it in there loosely, not too compacted, just loosely put it in. There we go. And the outside of the pot is all dirty now, but it doesn't really matter because we're gonna water it after, and then it'll just wash off. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and stick these little guys in there, and I'm gonna put them kind of like on the outside, towards the outside of the pot, and one in the middle because there's 5. So you want to make sure that all the roots are in. All the little fresh roots that have developed are in the potting mix, and then we'll water it after. So yeah, so this is a nice root. And just make a little hole and stick it all the way in, and then bury it in there. Really easy, really simple, nothing to it. Just keep turning the pot as I do it. Okay, so now that it's all nicely potted in there, we're gonna give it a good watering. Well, this one is a little bit loose. That's okay. Once the roots will grab on, they'll get more established in there. Yeah, and then we'll give it a good water and put it back into the other pot. And that's that. And I'll do the exact same thing with the other 5 because I had 10 in total, so 5 for each pot. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so the next ones I want to check on is these glacier pothos here. So let's see what those roots look like and if we can plant those as well. So angle it down so you can follow along. Okay, so let's get one of them out of here. And these are a little bit more robust, so don't have to be too careful, but you do still want to be careful that you don't damage the roots. And because it gets quite intertwined in the moss, and sometimes it's kind of hard to tell what's moss and what's root. And this global green wants to come out as well here. Oh, here I can see a really good root here. Oh yeah, this is gonna have some really nice roots. You can already tell. Get this off. There's a really long one here. Oh yeah, nice. Like I said, this is about 2 months in the Sphagnum propagation box. Sphagnum moss propagation box. And I had it covered for about a month with the plastic wrap, and then I just had it uncovered the rest of the time because it was getting a little bit too moist in there, and I didn't want to have to deal with any mold or anything like that, so I uncovered it for the rest of the time, and it worked well. If you uncover it, you just have to kind of be more careful, like you just have to water it more often so that the moss doesn't get dried out basically. Okay, so this looks pretty good. Wow, this one has lots of roots on it. Amazing. That's really good. Look at all these roots, you guys. That's awesome. So this is definitely ready to be planted. So I'm going to put that to the side here. And then here's his little friend. And this also looks like it has tons of roots on it. Let's see. And I'll probably put these guys together into the same pot, just like I did with the scindapsus. Like I said, I like it when it looks more full. See, I'm just kind of gently taking the moss off of the roots, and not all of it either, because it's okay. The plants have been in this moss for a while, so it doesn't matter if some of it stays on, because it'll actually kind of make it a nicer transition for them to the real soil. So there we go, that's this one. Wow, look at that. Those are some nice roots. Wow. Okay. These guys rooted so good. But you know, that's pothos for you. They root so good. You can pretty much throw these plants in the garbage and they'll probably root. They just want to grow. Okay. This one is a little bit smaller, but that's okay. It's good. It's got some pretty robust roots on it as well. This one's pretty thick already, so that one is good too. All right. Okay, so here they are. My 3 little glacier / njoy pothos propagations. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to put all these 3 in the same pot, and they'll look nice, I think. So the same thing, just kind of see how you want to put them. They grow, like they trail, or you can put them on a moss pole. So if you want to put them on a moss pole, this pot is probably too small, but if you do want to do that, you have to make sure that the aerial roots are to the inside or to wherever the pole is going to be, because the aerial roots are going to grab on to the pole. But if you just want them trailing for now, I usually like to put them trailing first until they get a little bit bigger, and then I'll put them on a pole. I find that's just easier. So if you want them trailing, then you kind of just situate them in a way that they nicely trail, kind of like that. And there's 3 of them, so I'm just gonna make it make it look good basically. And you don't have to put it right at the edge. You put it a little bit further in. And just make sure that all the roots, or most of them anyways, are in the potting mix. Kind of bury them in there. And there's one. Okay. And then we'll do the other bigger one. I'll put that one kind of maybe like that. I think that will look good. Okay. So if you put the next one in, you kind of have to be careful not to unbury the one that you just did. That happens sometimes. And a little trick to get the root in there, I just kind of curled it around my finger a little bit, like that. And then I just kind of stick it in the hole. And some of it will stick out sometimes, but that's okay. These guys are really tough. They're not fussy. They can pretty much survive anything. For the most part. For the most part. Okay, so that's pretty good. And then we'll put the other little one on this side. Might need to put a little bit more soil in here. There we go. Oops, some fell out. That's all right. Okay, make a little hole. And there we go. Make sure the roots are in. And that's all there is to it. There we go, and then we'll give it a good water after. After I'm done all of them, I'll give them all good water. There we go, that's what that will look like. And then once it starts growing, it'll fill out more. Okay, so let's see how this little global green is doing in here. So I'm gonna get that one out and see how the roots are doing on that one. And I'm guessing it's not gonna be as strong as the glacier, but it's pretty good. I only have one of these. Didn't really want to put it in a pot by itself, but I guess it's okay. Maybe I'll do another one and stick it in with them. Oh yeah, the roots are pretty good. You can kind of see here the roots. So they're not as robust as the other one, but they'll work for planting. It's enough for planting, so I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, let's see. My glove ripped a little bit, but I don't want to use another one because it's too wasteful, so I'll just leave it. Who cares? Okay, so put that one in. Global green is so pretty, I really like it. Has a little bit of leaf damage from one of my cats, I think. She's probably screwing around. She's always screwing around with the plant. She doesn't eat them, she just swats at them. One of our cats anyways. And see how I'm doing it? I'm kind of laying it in like this because there was actually a root on this side. See right there? And on this side. So pothos, they will root like anywhere where there's a node. So the cool thing is that you can just lay it in and then all the nodes will root and then the plant will produce growth out of all the nodes on that plant. So it'll make it actually fuller if you do it like that. And that's of course as opposed to putting it just in with the one stem, like on one side. If you do that, that's fine too, but then it will just kind of grow more long and it won't get as bushy. So I like to do it like this. And it's very loosely put in here, so it's not rooted yet, so be a little bit careful with it. But it's okay. Once it roots, it'll be fine. So that's kind of what that looks like. And then now we'll give all of them a good water. Okay, so just take the overpot away and just use the underpot and then just gently put some water in there. You don't want to spray it in there too fast because it will uproot the little cuttings, the little propagations, because they're not really stabilized in there yet. So you just want to be careful. And I'm just going to wash the pot while I'm doing this. because it got a little dirty on the outside. Yeah, so just gently water it, and then you want to drain the water out the bottom. Wait till it drains out the bottom. It doesn't have to all drain out, but just mostly. And then just check it again, make sure it's all good in there. Check it over, and then you just put it back into the overpot. And there you go. And then I'm just gonna do that with all of them. So the same thing with the next one. I'm just gonna repeat that with all of the ones I just planted. Okay, so now that I gave them a good water, I put them on my grow shelf in the basement because I don't have any more room in my house. But you can just put them in a bright indirect light spot, so like in an east facing window, or you can be south facing as well, but just make sure it's not directly in the bright light. But I just put them on my grow shelf. And I hope they'll do good, and I'll give you guys an update on them when they get bigger. So that's it for today. I guess I gotta find something new to put into my propagation box since it's mostly empty now. But that's the cool thing about these, is that you can just keep reusing them over and over, and the moss pretty much stays fine for the most part. You might have to add some new moss once in a while, but for the most part, you can just stick new propagations in there, and you can reuse it. So I'm gonna be doing that next. But for now, like always, if you have anything to add or any comments or questions, leave it in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you never miss an episode. And in the meantime, enjoy your plants. Be happy, stay healthy. See you next time. Bye!